Hey everyone, it's Alex Miller at Capneon here. In this video, I guess I'm going to advance a particular kind of Socratic non-knowledge about where is consumer technology heading? And related to this, where are the big tech companies heading? I think this overlaps with AI a lot. And I'm going to say, I think it's really muddy. And in the business world, especially if you're talking about large publicly traded corporations, there's not a whole lot of patience for it's real muddy, and I don't think anybody knows where it's heading. But I think it's really constructive to say that aloud at this particular point in time because I think that's the reality. People know what they're talking about. They think it's a little muddy, and I have liberty to say, so I will. I want to start talking about Arnold Schwarzenegger movies from the 1980s. In that you can go back and look at science fiction and see some speculation about the future. I think some of it was right. And it's super noticing to notice how people were wrong. So I'm just going to pick a movie, Total Recall. I think actually it's from the early 90s. They presumed that in the future everybody would use video phone. And video phone is a technology we have now. We don't actually use it as a ubiquitous replacement for regular audio phone calls in the way that this movie expected. In that I've been in office environments where various people were begging everyone to turn on the video on calls, and people just would not do it. People have access to this technology that was at one time an exciting science fictional technology, and there's circumstances in which they just don't like it. They just don't use it. You can even see that as technologies like text messaging and just general various forms of short message service appeared, people did not even like talking on the phone that much. And probably for a lot of people, including myself, actually the appearance of these things, that total recall mindset would say that, well, people want a richer medium for communicating, and a lot of times that's not true. A lot of times people like to send really short messages of text. They don't want to hear each other's voices. They don't want to see each other's faces. So I bring this up because it's quite clear that just because there's some exciting new technology that is somehow an improvement over things people are doing now doesn't really mean that people are going to bite when you get it out there. And I think we're hugely at a point, a crossroads in 2024 where, for various evolutions and kind of business expectations, monetary macro concerns, all kinds of things, big tech companies and a lot of others are under a lot of pressure where vaguely waving your hands and saying you're going to have some cool new technology for everybody down the road is getting old, and people want to see an exciting new project actually sell and change the world. There are some incumbent ideas about what this should be, and I don't know if any of them are any good. So where do I start? There's a lot that's super cool and from a past era of science fiction about augmented reality glasses. These things exist now. They'll give you a cool overlay for what you're doing in your day. They're certainly going to be relevant in settings like people working in warehouses, people doing bomb squad type stuff where you really need access to information and kind of instant access to outside expertise, but you need to be paying attention and things like that. So I don't want to uniformly jump on this technology. It really doesn't seem to me, though, like people want to wear their augmented reality glasses day to day to go to a cafe. It really doesn't seem to me like other people want to see somebody wearing augmented reality glasses in a cafe. So, as a broad consumer product, I could see that turning out to be totally a dud. And that doesn't mean the technology won't go somewhere else, but I don't think it can be the next iPhone. Here we come to AI, and that there have been a lot of announcements recently about objectively very cool and exciting releases from OpenAI about more seamlessly blending text, audio, and image interactions with AI. Some people will give it to you as the definition of what AI should be, that can interact with all these different types of data seamlessly. It's objectively cool. There are people out there working on, oh, this is going to fuel the next generation of consumer products. And in particular, if you could interact with your computer with voice, like on Star Trek, would you want that? Would you buy something to get that? Is that the new paradigm? People out there are building fancy AI pins where, like on Star Trek or Babylon 5 or your favorite sci-fi show from a while ago that predicted it, it'll hear you talking and it'll answer your questions and help you out at an appropriate time. It's way too soon to say, will these really hit or will they be duds? The first couple of things that have come out have not looked like they were going to change the world. And I see the same mistake in it, potentially, as this other example about just communicating via phone and text and video call or whatever it is. People might not want to talk to their AI just because of the same kinds of not entirely known officially reasons that people might not want to talk on the phone and would rather send a text message. So right now, more than I can cover right here, a lot of the big tech companies are rattling sabers real hard about this or that new cool technology. It is new cool technology. It does potentially have a lot of legs under it, but I think one should keep some skepticism, exactly motivated by kind of past arcs of sci-fi tech becomes real tech, but then people just don't really want to integrate it into their lives. Maintain some skepticism that just a lot of this stuff bricks, and we really don't, in this particular moment, which I would say is acutely a crossroads moment for technology, especially as it kind of relates to business. Some of this stuff could just brick. And what does the future really hold? I guess one thing I could say is if you've got an idea, I personally would advise you, don't be scared off by people saber rattling about AI pens, because that might not go anywhere. And I would say, just to kind of bring it back to what I normally talk about, AI is looked at as what's going to fuel all these paradigm shifts. It definitely has that potential. AI is really not going to solve the problem of what people actually want to interact with. And like a lot of things about AI, I think, ironically, there's going to be tons of the story that's not about technical progress in AI. It's about kind of squishy emo things about everyday people, how they get through the day, and what they're willing to put up with. So to recap, this is just if I'm smart, in this one I would say smart is just admitting that you don't know, and that's my advice to everybody out there.